afternoon, sir. This is Patil Apura Bhagwan. My roll number is 2016 BTEIT 00201. I am from S5 batch. My today's topic for the video presentation is TCP header using the Wireshark. Basically, sir, what is the Wireshark? It's nothing, but it's an analytical software used for tracing incoming and outgoing packets from the source port and the destination port. Also, it is used for filtering some of the packets such as the UDP packet, TCP packet, DSCP packets, ARP packets, and some of the other packets that are by the source port and the destination port. It is also used to perform some of the security functions such as the snooping, and also we have performed such practicals such as we have logged in to the Moodle as a wrong password, and the similar wrong password has been captured using the Wireshark using some HTTP and HTTP cookies. Many of the activities have been performed using the Wireshark. So today our main activity that has to be performed using the Wireshark is the TCP header using the Wireshark. Let's begin with the demonstration of TCP using the Wireshark. First of all, begin with the Wireshark. Now click over here. Now I am connected to the wireless LAN. Click on Start. As you have been observed, all the incoming packets to the source port and the destination port have been arrived to my Wireshark software, and it has captured all the incoming packets in this interface. There it has many packets. ARP packet is there, GVCP packet is there, UDP packet is there. Also it must be having a DSCP. Then the LLMNR packet is also over here. Then also much of the packets have been captured over this software. Now today we are interested in the TCP. So let's filter the TCP. So type here TCP type here TCP and click over here on this arrow. See, you will see all the TCP packets have been captured, and have you observed the one thing? A new section have been added over here, that is translation control protocol, and further description over it have been added. So let's click over here and see what are the description. So it has a source port number, destination port number, then the sequence number is there, window size is there, then the checksum field, option field, urgent pointer. Much of the fields have been added over here of each packet. So see, if you click on different packets, the fields are keep changing. The values of the fields are keep changing. The name is same, but the value is keep on changing. Some fields are static, some fields are dynamic. So let's see what is the meaning of actual each field, and then see which are the static and which are the dynamic in this description. So the first is the sender. The first is the source port, which actually belongs to the sender. It is a 16 bits and it is a source port number. It belongs to the sender who is interested to send the message over the network. The next is the destination port. It is also the 16-bit number. It belongs to the receiver who is interested to receive the message which is sent from the sender over the network. The next is the sequence number. The sequence number is overall unique in the network. Once it is assigned, it cannot be used by the other user or other host in the network. Basically, what is sequence number? It is 32 bits number. The sequence number of a first data octet in this segment of when it is SYN is present. If SYN is present, if the sequence number is the initial sequence number and the first data is added in it. The next is the acknowledgement number. 32-bit, it's of course of 32 bits. Initially, when the sender sends the request to the receiver that I want to initiate the communication with you, the ACK is set to 0. But when the receiver sends the acknowledgement that yes, I'm ready and I want to communicate with you, the ACK is set to 1. And once it is set, the communication link is set between them, the ACK is always 1. Data offset. Basically, it is also 4 bits. The number of 32-bit words in the TCP header. This indicates that where the data begins. It is when the communication is begin within the sender and the receiver, it is added between the messages to indicate where the message begins and where the message ends. Nothing. It's just a simple. The next we are going to see there are some flags reserved for some future use. The first is the SYN flag. This SYN flag is basically used for communication. The SYN is used for initiating the communication over the network. This SYN flag is used when the sender wants to initiate a communication with the receiver. And this next is an acknowledgement flag, ACK flag. This is same as the acknowledgement number. If a receiver is interested to initiate the communicate with the sender, it will send acknowledgement, and of course ACK is set to the 1. Sorry. The next is the finish flag. When there is a three-way communication, the three-way handshake protocol is initiated, the fin comes into the picture. In this way, in this three-way handshake protocol, the fin plays an important role, and it is sometimes set to 0 and it is sometimes set to 1 as per the role of acknowledgement and the S1 flag. The push. The next is the push flag. Push flag is used for the priority. Suppose you want to send some data, and the data is too important, so you can apply the push flag on that, so that it will recognize that the data within that packet is too important and it will be sent very fast. The next is the URG flag, that is urgent flag. Suppose the data is somehow within the packet is very important, so you can apply URG flag over it, so it will be sent very urgently. The next is the reset. When the communication between the client and the server, means the sender and the receiver, is over and they want to end the communication, so all the connections are reset and there will be re-establishment of the connection for the further communication. So the next is the window. 16 bit is the size of a window. The number of data octets beginning with one of the 1 in the acknowledgement field which the sender of this is willing to accept. When the sender is initiating the communication with the receiver, there is some window developed for both of them, and there is some size for the window, that is a 16 bit. Using this window size, the communication takes place only between these two, and there is some the number of data octets beginning one of the indicates that the communication initiated between these two, and only they both can only communicate between this window size. The next is a checksum. Yes, the checksum plays a very important role in a TCP header. That is, it is a 16 bits. The checksum field is a 16-bit ones complement of the ones complement sum of the 16-bit words in the header and the text. It's quite complicated, but if a segment contains one odd number of a header and the text octets of a checksum, the last octet is padded on the right one zeros to form the 16-bit word of the checksum purpose. Means, suppose the sender wants to send the message to the receiver. So, if some checksum is added over that message to check whether the message that has to be transferred to the sender has some synchronization and it has to be encrypted in some proper format. So that TCP, is a connection-oriented protocol. So, it should reach towards the receiver in some encrypted format. So, checksum is added for those format. So next is the urgent pointer. Yes, it's similar to the urgent flag. Suppose you want to send the data to the receiver in some urgent time. So you can apply the urgent pointer, which is basically of 16 bits. So it can be sent to the receiver in very urgent way. Also, the urgent pointer points to the sequence number of a octet following the urgent data. The field is only to be interpreted in the segments which is the urgent control bit set. Whatever data that is to be connected with the urgent, it's maintaining some of the list of the urgent pointer. The next is the option. The option field variable means that there are some options that are not actually needed, means that are used for the future. Whenever you need it, you have to just use them, and whenever you don't need it, you have to just keep them. Option. It's there as per our own requirement. Now, if you click over the other packets, you see that some of the fields are changing. Now, if you observe this packet, its source port number is 80, destination port number is 49701. Acknowledgement number is 2, and the header length number is 2 bytes. Acknowledgement number is 2. Now, let's see the other packets. Acknowledgement number is seen. As previously only I mentioned, once the communication is established, acknowledgement number doesn't change. Now, if I show the other packet, see, acknowledgement number is seen. Also, if you see of an urgent pointer, it's a 0 because there is no still any data available over the Wireshark, which had to be sent so urgently that if we have to need it to show the urgent pointer towards that data. The header length is of 32 bytes. See, the header its length is fixed. It's never going to be changed because we are using the IPv4 version, and it's also of 32 bytes. Over here you will get the entire information. The downside is the encrypted format, means they have given the hexadecimal addresses of above mentioned packets that we can understand. And see, if you click on other packet, some fields remain static and some remains dynamic. So that's all. That was for my today's session. I hope you understand my today's topic. That was a TCP header using the Wireshark. Thank you so